Following from the previous video, I'm going to set up Neovim with LSP and autocompletion using only built-in native capabilities and see how it would work out. And just to point out, I've isolated, I'm going to write things from scratch, so I don't have any configurations already set up, and we could see the changes as we go with this. So I'm going to just jump right into the LSP documentation and start from setting up the LSP and then try to add autocompletion. And actually, if you read it, and particularly this quick start part, it's very straightforward. You just need to define a configuration for your LSP server, whatever LSP server you want to use, and then you need to enable it. And so in my init.lua, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to set up for clangd. I'm going to define the file types for C and only header files. So like this is very minimal. And then I'm going to first set up like in a very minimal fashion just to see how it works, and then I'm going to try and probably use lspconfig, like the repository and the configuration for clangd itself, probably using vim.pack that was also introduced in this recent version. And here you need to enable clangd or whatever, like any other service you're going to use as well. Now if we do this, right, I think if I do source, let's see if it would work. I have a yes. Okay, so now if I do open this sample main file, let's write, for example, integer x. Now the LSP is working actually, because you could see like this line here that is like giving an error because we don't have the semicolon. And if I do lua vim.diagnostics open float, oh, not this line but this other line, you could see this. And actually I could even set up the key binding here. And let me see if this would work. Yeah, okay, so when I do GL, now it opens up. And so it's working. Another example would be to set up include DIO. And here you could also see that like we're not using this header file, so it gives a warning. Also, if I do Shift K, it gives up like the, I guess, the documentation for it. This is like a built-in key map. So we have LSP set up right now in a very minimal way. Next, I'm going to try and set up autocompletion as well and make it work with LSP. Because right now, like if we do new point dot control X control O, we would get like LSP suggestions here, right? Like the fields of this struct. But we want it to just suggest us while we're typing and trigger automatically. And if we do this, set it to true, this would set up and enable the autocompletion, the native autocompletion. We can see that new point now shows up, but this is not from the LSP actually. This is like a suggestion from whatever text is written in the buffer. That's why we don't, for example, get, like if I do new point dot, I don't get any suggestions yet. And for that, you need to do something else. What you should do is to add a auto command such that when the LSP is attached, we would basically have the LSP completion to be part of like the auto-completion suggestion as well. Or in other words, if I want to put it in a more simple way, auto-completion right now that is enabled does not contain the LSP completion yet. I also want to just confirm that we do have LSP server, and you could check it. So if we do check this, we can see that vim.lsp active clients, we have clangd over here. So I just wanted to point this out as well. Now for the auto completion with LSP, or enabling LSP completion, let me open up the help section for LSP again. So if we search for autocomplete, you could see actually, like, again, the documentation gives a good example. So you need to like create this LSP attach auto command, and it gives examples for different stuff. I'm just going to copy things for, okay, I'm going to copy all of it for now, and then this is not good. Okay, so the indentation is really bad, and I'll just like remove the unnecessary parts. So this is for triggering implementation or jumping to implementation. These are some comments, I don't care about them, and I'm not going to cover auto formatting here. So probably this is like what we want, right? And we can see that with this, let me just close it and run it on here. So new point, okay, this is not from the LSP, but if I do dot, right, we get X and Y as options. So it's working, right? And I think the reason like we don't get variable names, or if I want to let's say I want to define a float, I don't get any suggestions. If I trigger it manually though, I do get suggestions, and this is most likely because clangd has certain trigger characters, right? So auto trigger works based on the defined. Let me just open up. So here it only opens up the suggestions or autocomplete pop-up for the trigger characters that are defined, and on clangd it's only like certain characters like the pointer or dot and these things. But there is still a way to make it work, right? Open up basically help complete. So complete is basically a list of options where, like, you know, in auto completion, like where does it look for, let's say, sources, and by default it has, I think, like these first 4 or 5. Oh wait, no, yeah, these are the default things, and the key thing to notice is this omnifunc. So omnifunc is basically, if you know Neovim, it's like the control X control O with triggers, and basically LSP suggestions in a probably a JSON object are passed to Neovim, and it picks it up with the omnifunc function running. And we need to basically add this to these sources. And how do we do that? If we do vim, if we do this, we will probably get it working. Let me just run things again. Let's go to here. If we do new point, oh yeah, okay. You can see that when I write n, it starts suggesting, well, all loads of stuff, but like new point, or here the variable name. So I mean, there is a mix of both the buffer suggestions, right, the like text suggestions, and the LSP suggestions. But if I do float, like it would give us the LSP suggestions, or I think this is a snippet, right? Yeah, it even gives like snippet suggestions. But it's a bit clunky right now. When I like type F, it inserts it itself. So the next thing I'm going to do is to basically try and fix this. And the way to do this is to do so. Okay, let me first show it here. So here you could see all the options like fuzzy matching, or I think one of them, so menu 1 is probably a good one. So there's a pop-up when there's only one option. I'm gonna add this. And another thing that's something I like is no select, and also probably no insert, but let me just do no select for now and see how that would work out. And this is it. Okay, let me restart things again. Wonder what went wrong. But yeah, you could see new point. We don't have any selections when we type in. It like suggests thing, but unless you actually go through them using Control N or Control P, I have not set up using tab here. You won't get it like inserted inside your like the actual editor. Another example is float. So we have kind of eliminated the clunkiness that existed, and usually I go with this method. Like I just like have things inserted when I hover over them or select them in the suggestion menu. So I think that would cover the very basics. I'm gonna like do some more tweaks on it. For example, I will make it such that we have like vim, like I want to limit the number of suggestions to only the top 5 suggestions, and the way to do that is to do and another thing I will do is vim.o.pom border. I like to make it rounded. So if I let me just double check from the documentation. Okay. Yeah, so these are the different options. Rounded is one of them, so it would probably work. I usually like to go with this. We get an error here. Okay, let's save this and run it again. So let's try. Okay, you can see that like you also get a bordered look to just make it like so, to make it like, I don't know, better. So there are some like customization options as well. I'm going to try one final thing just before I end this video, and that is to add or use nvim-lspconfig's clangd configuration, right? Instead of like defining this very minimal config, because it could be very useful, right? Especially if you have multiple LSP servers, as you build your like Neovim setup. So I'm just gonna like quickly just use Vim's built-in package manager that was introduced recently. It's a good showcase as well. So I just pasted it. This is going to install nvim-lspconfig, and if I do this, I believe it would automatically just utilize this apparently. So let me try. So these plugins will be installed. Proceed. It's now installing the plugin, and it's successful. So let's see, check health, LSP. Yeah, it's using it because the configuration is you could see here that it's much more involved as well. So I think it's now very streamlined. As long as you just add nvim-lspconfig, with the package manager, you would get the configuration for whatever LSP server you enable, right? In our case, if I just go back to Lua, oh, we also have this log file added as well. Interesting. So we will basically add it and enable any server we have. Here it's only one, and it will just go on and work out of the box. It has nice changes. Well, probably you would want much more. I mean, you may want more features, but I guess for a very minimal setup, or at least something to just get things going, and in the future hopefully it will become better. That's it for today, folks. If you like my content, please consider subscribing and supporting me, and if you have any thoughts or any ideas for another video, anything, just let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.